So hello everyone, my name is Pratap Jadhav and I am working as a structural engineer at Midas India Mumbai, and I welcome you on behalf of Midas India for this webinar session. So today's topic for the webinar is vibration analysis of footbridge as per IRC SP 56 specifications. The purpose of this webinar is to give an idea for the engineers to give correctly consider and analyze the dynamic effect related to the pedestrian actions on the footbridges. As we know, in the analysis of footbridge, dynamic excitation also plays an important role, and these vibrations are dynamically excited due to the pedestrian load. So the contents for the today's webinar are: first we will talk about the conceptual background of the footbridges, then moving further we'll discuss about the basics of dynamic analysis, then we will see the codal provisions as per the IRC 56 2011 along with the Eurocode standards. Then brief about the modeling part, as I will directly open the existing model and instead of going for the manual modeling. So you can refer certain previous webinars for the modeling tips. Then we'll discuss about the workflow for the vibration analysis using the Midas Civil. Then in brief we'll also discuss about the analysis and the result extractions and the codal checks which is given with the analysis results. And finally, if certain criteria is not fulfilling as per the limiting values, say for the acceleration, then how to control these particular vibrations, that we'll discuss in short. Okay. So first question coming in the mind, why dynamic analysis of the footbridges are required? So during the lifespan, footbridges suffer from vibration created by the action of wind as well as the pedestrian load, etc. So those vibrations are generally not detrimental for the footbridge type structures, but can become a more or less annoying or even uncomfortable for the pedestrians. So walking, running and jumping on the footbridges produce the dynamic forces which can activate appreciable vibrations. Vibration can cause discomfort to the pedestrians, and the excess vibrations can cause a deterioration of the footbridge's structural integrity. So here in short, if we discuss, like the dynamic analysis is the analysis under the time varying external loads. Okay, here the external load is nothing but either it is a wind, but most probably the majority it will be a pedestrian load. So these type of vibrations are the primary loads, and for that purpose the dynamic analysis is required to determine the effect of this dynamic load on the structure's dynamic response and its influence on the users. Okay. So now we will discuss about the specifics and the challenges faced by the engineers as far as the footbridges are concerned. So first is the importance of the geometry. Okay. So nowadays the footbridges designing are considering the aesthetics in case of the geometry, and which leads to the complexity in the design, such as tie arch bridges or even the curve type the alignments, as you can see in these particular screenshots. Okay. And second one is the structural robustness. So we want lightweight bridges, so they are very slender, but at the same time we want to ensure that this has to be sufficient strength and stiffness to maintain the stability. Okay. So load magnitude for the footbridge smaller than the highway bridges for the pedestrian bridges, but proportionally it may be a higher with respect to the dead weight. Okay. And the critical combinations are different from the conventional bridges here. Okay. Moving on. So the another challenges in case of the footbridges design is to attention to the stability and vibration issues. So in case of the highway bridges, it is not the issue where we need to consider the importance factor in case of the footbridge design. So here the it has a low natural frequency, and which may lead to the unstable lateral response and the loss of stability. Also the vertical vibration may cause the discomfort to the users. So coming to the vibration analysis, so it is necessary to know the dynamic properties of the bridge deck to evaluate its response to the pedestrian excitations. So dynamic properties of the structure depends on the mass, its stiffness, and the structural damping. So this is a basic equation of the vibration, and it's actually a differential equation of motion for the forced vibration due to the external loading. Okay. So the structure's dynamics may be determined with the numerical simulations using the high-end softwares. However, in many cases, the structure may be simplified as a beam with a uniform distributed mass. In these cases, closed form solutions are available to determine the theoretical dynamic properties. Okay. So coming to the damping, damping is a measure of the inherent capacity of a structure to dissipate the energy. So damping helps to reducing the structural response to the dynamic excitation near the resonance, and therefore it should be estimated as accurately as possible. So structural damping can only be evaluated experimentally. So for crowd loads, it is recommended that the crowd structure interaction is accounted for to determine the effect of crowd on the structural damping. So Eurocode given the guidelines for the various damping ratios as per the type of material and as per the type of structure. Okay, so in such cases, so we have the steel bridge. Okay, so for steel bridge, and if you consider the high resistance bolt, so generally the damping ratio will be taken as 0.03, and if you are considering the composite action, okay, for the girders, then we will take it as a 0.04. That is 4% damping we are considering here. So coming to the Indian standards and the Eurocode provisions, okay, which are generally given as far as footbridges are concerned. First we will talk about the British code here, or the Eurocode guidelines considering the UK annex. So dynamic models for the pedestrian loads and the associated comfort criteria, two distinct analyses are to be required. So one is the determination of the maximum vertical deck acceleration and its comparison with the comfort criteria, and second is the analysis to determine the likelihood of the large synchronized lateral responses. Okay. Then generally the three cases are considered as per the Eurocode specifications for the dynamic loads as per the comfort criteria is required. So first is a walking pedestrian, second is a jogging pedestrian, and the third is the crowd steady state condition. So the recommended crowd densities for the design, then time forcing function, reference load, pedestrian crossing speed, and the reduction factors. So these parameters are given in the Eurocode. So how to perform the vibration analysis as per the Eurocode specification is already been explained in our previous Midas webinars, which we can get in the our YouTube channel Midas India. So here in this webinar we will discuss in detail about the how to perform the vibration analysis as per IRC SP 56 provisions. Okay. So here as per IRC, so vibration serviceability requirement for the pedestrian bridge, okay, which is given in the appendix B. So for superstructures, fundamental natural frequency, if it exceeds 5 Hz for the unloaded bridge where we are not considering the pedestrian load in the vertical direction, and 1.5 Hz for the loaded bridge that is considering the pedestrian bridge in the horizontal direction. So here it will be a transverse direction. Then in that case vibration analysis is required. There are two methods which are given for calculation of the maximum vertical acceleration if they are less than 5 Hz and the 1.5 Hz. So one is the simplified method and second is the general method. So the code suggests, so where the fundamental frequency of the horizontal vibration, if it is less than 1.5 Hz, special consideration has to be given to the possibility of the excitation by the pedestrian of the laterally movement of the unacceptable magnitude. So the bridges having the low mass and the damping and expected to be used for the crowds of the people are particularly susceptible to such vibrations. So method of deriving the maximum horizontal acceleration should be agreed with the appropriate authority. So generally the IRC SP 56 has not given any specific guidelines if it is the checks to be required for the horizontal vibration. Okay, so generally it is given only for the vertical accelerations. So there are two methods for calculation of the maximum vertical acceleration. First one is the simplified method for deriving the maximum vertical acceleration. So this method is valid only for single span or 2 or 3 spans, that is a continuous structures, symmetric superstructures of the constant cross sections and supported on the bearings. So that will be idealized as a simple supports. Okay, so for that empirical equation is given for calculation of the vertical acceleration. So this A is nothing but the maximum vertical acceleration, and which is calculated as 4 pi square f naught square ys into k into psi. So here this f naught is the fundamental natural frequency, okay, that is in hertz. Ys is the static deflection. So for calculation of the static deflection, we need to apply a 0.7 kilonewton of concentrated load midpoint of the main span, and for that location, whatever the deflection which you are getting, that will be considered as a static deflection. Then k is the configuration factor and the psi is the dynamic response factor, that I will show in the further slides. Then f naught, so there is an empirical equation which is given for calculation of the fundamental natural frequency, or even the softwares can calculate the fundamental natural frequency of the structure. So here if we are calculating the manually, so the f naught is c square by 2 pi l square under root of ei g by m. So here g is the gravitational acceleration, l is the length of the main span, e is the modulus of velocity, I is the moment of inertia of the cross section at the midspan, and m is the weight per unit length for the full cross section at the midspan. So this second moment of area is calculated for the f naught and ys. So it shall be considered without taking into the account the effect of shear lag effect in case of the steel bridges. So for as we discussed for the static deflection, so it is taken as the midpoint of the main span for the vertical concentrated load of the 0.7 kilonewton applied at this point. So the configuration factor C, which is required for calculation of the fundamental natural frequency. So there are actually two configuration factors if you see. So here it is a K is the configuration factor in case of the calculation of the maximum vertical acceleration, and there is a C factor, that is again the configuration factor which is required for calculation of the fundamental natural frequency. So first C, this is a configuration factor which is required for fundamental natural frequency. It depending upon the bridge configuration, whether it is a single span, 2 span or the 3 span. And for configuration factor, so again this is also same as depending upon the whether it is a single span or 2 span or 3 span. So here we are using this K factor for calculation of maximum vertical acceleration, and the fundamental natural frequency we will take from the software. This dynamic response factor psi, which is again required for calculation of the vertical acceleration. This is basically calculated as per the span length, but suppose if the data is not present, then we are for the precisely we can use the logarithmic decrement for the as per the structural damping for the steel structure. Okay, so we have this 0.04. Okay, and then the second method, there is a general method for calculation of the maximum vertical acceleration. So for superstructures other than those specified in the previous simplified method, so those come under this particular general method. Okay, so in case like the suspension bridges, or if we have certain cable type structures for the footbridges, so in that case we will use the general method. So it should be calculated assuming that dynamic loading applied by the pedestal can be represented by a pulsating load F moving across the main span of the superstructure at a constant speed of Vt. So here this F will be calculated as per this particular function. So we have the 180 sine 2 pi f naught into t, where this f naught is again the fundamental natural frequency in the vertical direction, and t is the time. Okay, so again this constant speed Vt, so for that there is again the empirical formula, that is a 0.9 times f naught. Okay, so f naught which we can get from the natural frequency. So here standards, which is standard calculations or the empirical formulas which are given here, these are the basically taken from the BS 5400 to 2006. Okay, so coming to the overview of the footbridge details, so which I have taken for as example for today's session. So it is a steel bowstring bridge having the span of 90 meter, which is supported on the bearings, and the width of 2.7 meter wide. Okay. And here these are the sections which we have assigned at different member locations, such as bottom chord, hangers, arch members, cross beams, and the tie beams, etc. So these sections which are not available under the section library, for that we can use the section property calculator tool, which will help for calculation of the section property which is required for the analysis. Okay, this is the section view. So here there are 3 stringer beams having the ISMB 100, and there are the checkered plates. So the clear width, it is 1.8 meter, and here these are the bottom chords. Okay, so that this is the sections which we have used for these particular members. So the workflow for the vibration analysis, so this is actually the general workflow, whether you are doing the manual analysis or it is using the software. So first we'll do the geometric modeling, then we'll perform the modal analysis, that is the free vibration analysis, to determine the natural frequency. Then we'll determine the pedestal time forcing function. Then we'll apply the time forcing function along with the length of the bridge while maintaining the constant pedestal velocity. Then we'll check the acceleration time response and determine the peak acceleration. Then we'll perform the code checks, which is given as per the empirical formulations, and then we'll go for the vibration control if the necessary, such as the stiffening of the bridge or the provision of the dampers, etc., if this particular acceleration is not within the limits. So as we discussed earlier, okay, for the modeling purpose, so we do have the arch wizard, or you can model the structure manually also. So this we can use this arch wizard for the auto generation of the arch structure, okay, which is composed of series of beam elements, and this wizard is consist of the data such as shape of that particular arch, the number of segments, boundary conditions, and the geometrical data such as span and height, etc. Okay, and here this is a section property calculator. So suppose if any particular section which is not fitting in the standard library database section, then we can use this particular tool. So just I will highlight for this particular section how we can use the section property calculator. Just have a glance through how we can this particular section property tool will work. So first, generally we will have the section drawn in the AutoCAD, or we can draw the same sections in the section property calculator also. Okay, so I have taken the hanger section just for the demonstration, which is not possible to define directly in the software. So I just taken that particular section in the AutoCAD. Now I will go to the Midas Civil in Tools, Section Property Calculator. Here make sure that the unit system will be same in the both cases, that is the AutoCAD as well as in the Section Property Calculator. Then from the import, you can import the AutoCAD DXF file, or you can from the model you can create your section here itself. Now it is get imported here. So this is now a cross section. Now we'll generate this particular section because it consists of only the line. So here I will consider this as a plain section, and I will give the name here the hanger. Now this particular section will be generated. Okay, so here it is showing that the section is generated. Now from the property, I will create this particular section and I will mesh it. As this is a finite element based tool, so finer you mesh, more accurate results will be calculated. Okay, now it is get mesh and the section property will be calculated. Now if you go to the section and the export option, so this particular section will be saved as Midas section file, and the file extension for this is .sec. Okay, so I just save this particular section file. Now I will go to the Midas Civil. Okay, so in the Midas Civil, if I go to the properties and section properties, okay, so here in the section property there is an option called value type of section. Okay, so go to the value type of section and there select the general section, where we can import the ACC file that we have generated from in the previously. So just take that particular section, so all the section property will be calculated. So save the section using the name as a hanger. And then whatever the section which we have created, just select the required location and just drag and drop that particular section. So here just this particular hangers are updated with the new section. Now if you go to the section with the hidden view, so you can able to see this particular section. So this is how you can create your section as a user define any section using the section property calculator. So the equation of free vibration as already we have discussed. So now the next step is, after the modeling, that is the performing the free vibration analysis. The equation of motion is mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx is equal to 0. Here we are considering the free vibration analysis. So for this the purpose of this free vibration is to calculate the fundamental natural frequency of the structure. So from the so for that we'll just apply the load, we'll convert them into the masses, and then we'll perform the eigenvalue analysis. Okay. So from the IRC SP56, for as we discussed, we need to check the fundamental natural frequency, and then we need to compare it for the two cases, that is the unloaded condition and for the loaded condition, that we will again discuss in the further slides. In the Midas Civil, we need to perform the eigenvalue analysis. Okay, under this eigenvalue analysis, so we will provide the dynamic properties of the structure by solving the characteristic equation composed of mass matrix and the stiffness matrix. So the dynamic properties, which includes the natural modes, or we can say the mode shapes, natural period, and the mass participation factors. Okay, so the natural period mode is nothing but it pertains to the free vibration in an undamped system. So the first mode or the second mode or the nth mode, which represent the order in which the last energy is required to deform the structure. Okay, and then natural period. Okay, so generally we are considering the natural period, it will take the it takes to freely vibrate the structure into the corresponding natural mode one full cycle. And the mode participation factor is nothing but it's a ratio to of the influence of the specific mode to the total masses. So when you are selecting the eigenvalue analysis, so there are two methods, eigenvectors and Riggs vector. If we select the eigenvectors, so under that again we have the subspace iteration and the Langzos method. So the subspace iteration is a matrix calculation which is used to perform the eigenvalue analysis, and this method, so the subspace iteration is the matrix calculation which is used to perform the eigenvalue analysis, and this method is effectively used when the performing the eigenvalue analysis for the finite element system of the large scale, or we can say the large matrix system, and commonly used among the engineers. And then Langzos method, it's a tridiagonal matrix used to perform the eigenvalue analysis, and this method is effectively used when performing the eigenvalue analysis for lower modes. And this Riggs vector is used for the load dependent vectors, which produce the more reliable results in the dynamic analysis with relatively fewer modes. We'll go back to the software now and we'll perform the analysis. So as we discussed, I will directly go for the demonstration for the free vibration and for the time stay analysis. So just quickly I will just give you the overview of the model which we created here. So this structure we have created using the structure base structure and the arch wizard. So here you can specify the input data such as the what type of shape it is, how many number of segments are there, what is the span information, and then what is the height of this particular structure. Then select the material and then the section property. Okay, then you can create this particular arch part, and then after that using the insert you can specify the starting point. So once we create this particular arch part, then we'll generate the next arch using the general method, that is the node and element tabs, and then we'll copy it, and then we'll create the corresponding cross beams using the extrude command. Using the extrude commands, we'll project this particular hangers at this particular level. Okay, so there is a project command and we can specify these particular points. So along with that this particular hanger will be created. So after generating this particular geometry, we'll define the material and section property. So for definition of the material we have used the properties and material properties. Here we have defined the steel material. Okay, as per the IRC 24 guidelines, which is given for the standard steel section. And we have defined one more material, that is a dummy material, which we will use at the say crash barrier location. Okay, because we are not modeling this crash barrier manually, we are directly applying it as a load. Then the section property. So if I go to the section property, so here we have already defined certain sections. So for the stringer location, we have used ISMB 100. Then for the end cross beam, so this is the typical cross sections which we have adopted for the end cross beam, which from the we have defined from the DB user and for the from the box section. So we can customize this particular section from this particular input data. Dummy just we have considered for the crash barrier location, that is a 50 mm by 50 mm, which is having the zero density. For the R section, we have considered the box type section. Okay, so this is a typical cross section for the arch. This is for the intermediate cross beam. Then the hanger sections, again as we discussed earlier, we have used the general section, and which section created from the section property calculator. Same for the tie beam, and for bottom chord again we have taken the box section. Okay, then coming to the boundary condition, so here we have considered the pot PTF type of structure. So here we have considered the pinned condition here, pinned, which consists of the translation to be restrained in the 3 direction, and it will be allowed to for the rotations. This is the transverse guided, and along with this particular fixed type of bearing, so this is the longitudinal guided, and this is the free bearing. Okay, so this is how we'll simulate the bearings using this particular general boundary condition, that is under the support condition. The next come is the loads. So if you go to the load, static load and the static load cases, so here we have considered the self weight, railing load, wearing course load. So it depends upon the again the what type of material we are considering for the wearing course, whether it is a steel panels or it is a precast concrete panels. And then above that there is a wearing coat. Then wind load and the footpath load. Okay, so this is basically a live load we are applying as a load. And while applying this particular load, so we have considered this particular structural weight as a 30% we are including due to the we can say the connections as well as the due to the plates and all. And then next is the floor load. So this is basically due to the panels which we are considering for the deck location. So for applying this as a area load, so we have used this particular floor load option. Okay, instead of applying it as a UDL, we are applying it as the area load. So for that purpose, we have the load, static load, and the assign floor load command. And under this assign floor load command, so if we go to this particular load type, so we need to specify that particular load here. We have considered the 0.65 kilonewton per meter square intensity for the deck load. Then for the bearing, it is a 0.55 kilonewton per meter square. Then for wind load, it is 1 kilonewton per meter square. And then for the footpath load, it is a 5 kilonewton per meter square. Right? This is again the standard given in the IRC 6 itself. Okay, then for us, it's a simple one. Just for application of this particular load, so when you select this particular load type, just specify the start point and the corresponding end locations. So according to that, so the program will consider the two-way distribution or the one-way distribution as per the aspect ratio. Okay, similarly this particular railing load we have applied as a UDL, so that we are applied here at this particular dummy beam location. Okay, this is again the bearing course. Wind load we have applied here, so in the transverse direction, so this is in the negative y direction. Similarly in the load combination, you can simply create the factor considering the load wind direction in this opposite direction, and also the wind load in the deck location. Now after application of this particular all static loads, now for the free vibration analysis, generally the program will consider the masses, okay, for generating the mass matrix. So for that, first if you go to the structure and structure type, we have applied this particular self weight as a factor. So to consider that weight into the masses, we have direct command under this structure type, that is a convert self weight into the masses. Okay, so here we are converting this in weight into the masses in all three directions, that is into the XYZ direction. And the additionally self weight which we considered here, and using this particular flow load. So for that, if you go to the load, static load, and the load to masses command, so here we'll select this particular command, and we'll select the corresponding load case, and we'll specify the factor here. So this is how we'll convert this load into the masses. And for the live load, we'll consider here the 20% of the total load, okay, as the code suggests. So after inputting all these parameters, now we'll go to the analysis and the eigenvalue analysis. Okay, so here we are performing the free vibration analysis for calculation of the fundamental natural frequency. And now here we will select the eigenvectors and the Langsohn method for the lesser number of modes, and this is nothing but the number of frequencies. Okay, so idea about this particular number of frequency, how to decide this one. So it is depending upon the mass participation. Minimum 90% of the mass participation to be considered in the major direction, that is in the vertical and the transverse direction. So trial has to be made. So generally we'll give say the 10 number of frequencies. We'll analyze the structure and we'll check whether the minimum mass participation 90% is achieved or not. So accordingly it will check. But here it is not like that. In software we are generally considering the maximum mass percentage, and the corresponding mode we are checking for the time period. Okay, this is how we are doing that one. Okay, so just I'll click on OK, and just we'll perform the analysis. So first we will check the major responses in the directions. So here I have taken first model for the loaded condition, that is we will check the frequency in the horizontal direction, that is in the Y direction. So if I go to the results, mode shapes, and the vibration mode shapes, so here I will just check the modes. So in the first mode, I just turn on the contour and legend. So if I turn on the animate option and record, so in the first mode, so this is the major response in the Y direction. So there is a translation in the Y direction. Okay. And then if you see the response in the second mode, right? So if you check the animation, so there is a distortion. So this is also in the Y direction. So this is how for the different modes we can check the mode shapes. Now if you go to the results vibration mode shape table, so here we can get the fundamental natural frequency. The time period of the structure is 1.714 second, and the frequency is 0.58335. And similarly, if we check the second model, okay, so this is basically for the unloaded condition, and here we are checking the frequency in the vertical direction. So it's already analyzed. So if I go to the results table and the vibration mode shape, and the frequency, so for vertical, if you check the mass participation, so here this is the 65% maximum mass participation in the fifth mode. So for the fifth mode, if you check the frequency, this is 2.403 okay hertz, that is a cycle per second. So as per the codal provisions, so the fundamental natural frequency when we have calculated for the both the cases, so it is 2.4 hertz, that is in the unloaded condition for the vertical direction. So it is, which is less than 5 hertz, and for the loaded condition, that is in the horizontal direction, it is 0.58 hertz, which is again less than 1.5 hertz. So for that also check is required. Okay, so as we discussed, so again we need to go for the certain special literatures for the checking the horizontal acceleration. For vertical acceleration, code suggests certain standard empirical formulations. So according to that, we'll check the maximum vertical acceleration and we'll compare it with the limiting values. Okay. So now coming to the dynamic analysis. So here we will perform the time history analysis. Okay, so first case, okay, so first we'll check as per the simplified method, as it's a simple structure. So the fundamental natural frequency in the vertical direction, as you already discussed the formulation. Now from the analysis we got the value of 2.40 hertz, which is less than 5 hertz. So we need to calculate the maximum vertical acceleration, which is given as per the empirical formula. And for that f naught we have the 2.403 hertz. Ys, so we applied as a point load of 0.7 kilonewton at the midspan, and for that the static deflection comes at 0.24 mm. Configuration factor we have taken as 1, and the dynamic response factor we have taken as 0.03. Okay, so the maximum vertical acceleration from this particular formula arrives at 0.00052 hertz. Okay, and the limiting value of the acceleration is 0.5 under root of f naught, so which comes around 0.775 hertz, which is less than the limiting value. So here means the section the structure is safe for this maximum vertical acceleration. So suppose if in case of the other structures, okay, so now for us it is safe in for the vertical vibration, but suppose if we have certain other type of structure apart from this particular simple structure or the continuous structure, so in that case we need to go for the general method, okay, for calculation of the maximum vertical acceleration. So for that purpose we need to go for time history analysis. Okay, already the function which is given as per the code that we have discussed. The now how to formulate that under in the software. So here the time history and under the time history analysis, it's a 3-step process. So the in the time history analysis it's a 3-step process. First we'll define the time history load case, then we'll create the time history function, and then we'll assign that particular time history load using the any one of the functionality which is given in the MIDAS Civil. So first is the time history load case. So under that basically we are considering here the linear time history analysis, modal analysis. So we have selected the analysis type as linear or non-linear. Depending upon that you can select that one. So the MIDAS have the option for considering the non-linearity in the time history analysis. Then in the analysis method, so we have a modal and the direct integration. So next is the time history type. So here it's a transient and periodic. Okay, so the when the time history analysis is carried out on the basis of time load function only once, so in that case we can use the transient type load. Okay, so this is common for the time history analysis for earthquake load. Now the periodic is nothing but when you are performing the time history analysis on the basis of repeated loading which has a time period identical to the end time. So this will be applicable for the machine vibrations. Next is the end time. So the end time is nothing but it's a time until which the time history analysis is required. Okay, so generally this end time will be a total length divided by the speed. So according to that end time will be calculated. This time increment of the time history analysis is basically affects the accuracy of the analysis result. So the common thumb rule for determining the time increment is use the at least 1/10 of the smaller of the period of the time forcing function. So when you are defining the time forcing function, take the smaller period and the 1/10 of that particular smaller period. That is a one criteria, or we can use the 1/10 of the natural frequency of the structure. Okay, that is the second criteria. So whichever is the lesser, we need to take it as a time increment. So the idea about this time increment is nothing but it will take all the time divisions which we are going to define under the time forcing function. So that will be that all the types loads will be taken into account for the time history analysis. Then here there is a damping. So other functions you can refer the time help manual on. Then in the damping method, so we are using here the modal. So basically we'll specify here the damping ratio for the mode shape. So here we are considering the constant mode shape damping ratio of say 0.03 or 0.04 depending upon the type of structure. Now this the Eurocode specifies this particular functions or the load cases has to be created for the 3 different cases. There is a walking, jogging and crowded condition. Okay, so here I am considering the walking condition. Next step is the defining the time history load function. So for the time history load function, here we need to specify the time versus the loading function. So for that, again we need to create the different loads. So under that we will have the different function for different load cases. Okay, so I will explain this particular in the Excel sheet, and then we'll apply the time history dynamic loads by any different of the methods which is given. So we'll assign these particular loads in the program. So here we need to calculate the arrival time. So this arrival time is nothing but it's a delay time for the time forcing function. So we can specify this particular arrival time depending upon the velocity of the pedestrian loading and the length of the bridge. Okay, and that particular load will be calculated and it will be assigned at each node location statically. So here I am considering for the unloaded condition for the vertical vibration. So for that, okay, so I already formulated this particular function. So let me just explain in detail. So if you go to the load and the dynamic load, so here there is an option for defining the time history inputs. So first is the load cases. Okay, so already we have arrived the loads and we have converted into the masses. So now we'll directly go for the time history analysis. So here in the time history load cases, so we are specifying here the time history load case. So for that we have just considered the time history load case 1. Now the analysis type, I am considering here the linear modal type of analysis. So I have selected the analysis type as linear analysis method as a modal. Okay, then time history type, so as I consider it's a transient type of loading. Okay, not a repetitive one. So I am considering here the transient case. Then for the modal case, and I have considered here the steel type structures. That is a we can consider the composite structure if we are having the composite action to be considered. So we can use this particular 4% damping, right? Next is the time history function. So for the time history function, first I just explain in the Excel sheet. Okay, so for the time history forcing function, IRCSP 56 given the as, so for the maximum vertical acceleration, assuming that dynamic loading applied by the pedestrian can be represented by a pulsating point load F moving across the main span of the structure at a constant speed of Vt. Okay, and this is a function which is given 180 sine 2 pi f naught into t. Okay, so according to this particular function, so we need the span information, damping ratio, and the fundamental natural period. Now these are the time in seconds, so I just divided into a 0.01 increment, and then the for function, so here we have considered the function as 180 into sine into 2 pi into 2 pi pi f naught into t. Okay, now this is the time versus force function, and now this forcing function we have taken here. So here I am applying this particular loading on the each stringer location. So in the model we have the 3 stringers. So just I have divided this each load into 3 part. Next, so this particular function we need to calculate. So I just copy this particular function. Then we'll go to the software. So here we need to specify this particular function. Okay, so just copy paste this particular function here under this particular time forcing function. Now this forcing data is nothing but it's a force. Okay, right? Time versus loading function. So after defining this one, now we'll go for the application of this particular load. So we have just created the load case and we have created the function. Now we need to assign this particular load. So for that we have the different methods. So I will select here the dynamic nodal load option. So for the dynamic nodal load, so we need to calculate the loading value at each of the node location. So we have this 3 stringer beams. So I just activate this particular stringer beams, and at each stringer location, so I just renumber this particular node location. So this is stringer 1, 2 and stringer 3. Okay, so here for this particular node location, so what is the value of the arrival time? Okay, so here we are selecting the time history load case forcing function, that is which we have created earlier. We are applying this particular load in the z direction for the vertical vibration. Arrival time, so for the arrival time, again if I go back to the Excel sheet, so for calculation of this particular dynamic nodal load, we know the speed, that is 0.9 times of the f naught, that is a fundamental natural frequency. So what is the fundamental natural frequency? Then the step length, so this step length will be calculated considering the frequency and the speed, and then the arrival time. So this arrival time will be calculated from the speed and the step length, and this is the length of the bridge. Okay, so from that we have these are the node numbers, and this is the function. So this particular table we have created as that of this one. So from the dynamic nodal load, if you click on this three dot button, so node, load case, load type, function, direction, arrival time, and the scale factor. So accordingly we have created this particular table. So this is how we have calculated this particular arrival time. So for each node location we have calculated. So just copy this particular function. Okay, so before that, first create for the first we can say the node location. So for that, if you go to the software, so first select this particular node, then select the time history load function name, specify the direction, arrival time 0, and the scale factor as -1, and then click on apply. Okay, after apply, then go to the table. This is display. So if you go to the dynamic nodal load, so here first dynamic nodal load we have applied, and after that for the remaining, okay, just copy from the table and then paste it in this table, right? So I hope this dynamic nodal load is clear for everyone. Now after that, now perform the analysis. Okay, so after performing this analysis, we'll discuss here now about the results part. So we'll go to the results. So now if you go to the time history results and the displacement, velocity, acceleration. So here I will select the load case name time history 1, and the function is same. So this is a step. So this step length is basically on the velocity of the loading point has to be calculated, and it is calculated as the speed into the time period. Okay, or we can say it is where the time period is 1 by frequency. So here I'm selecting the acceleration in the dz direction, and then I will turn on the legend value. Okay, then apply. Okay, so this is the acceleration which we are getting from the program. Now for getting the maximum acceleration for this case in the graphically, so I'll go to the time history graph, and then we'll go to the time history graph option. So I already predefined this particular time history graph. Just I will show you this one. So if you go to the define function and then click here the add new function option. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to first check the node number, okay, where we are getting the maximum deformation, or we can say the maximum acceleration. So how to get that one? So if you already we checked from this particular deformation option, time history, okay, dz, acceleration, legend, and apply. So this is the maximum acceleration of 0.01 meter per second square, okay, at node number 231, right? Now if you go to the time history graph, so here go to the define. So here go to the define or modify the function, and then click on add new function, right? So after defining creating this add new function, so give the name, say acceleration, node number is 231. We are checking the acceleration, ground acceleration, and this is in the z direction, for which load case it is a th1. So click on apply, right? Then so that will be added here. Now go back and select this particular function, and then add it here, and then give the name here, acceleration, vertical direction, and then click on graph. Okay. So in the horizontal axis, it corresponding to the time in second, and this is the function, time history function, which we have specified. And here the maximum acceleration of, so 7.527 into 10 raised to -3 meter per second square. Now if you go back to the presentation, okay, so here as per from the analysis, we are getting the peak ground acceleration of 7.527 into 10 raised to -3 meter per second square, and as per the IRC SP 56 2011, maximum vertical acceleration is 0.7751 meter per second square, which is quite higher than the one which you are getting from the analysis, so it is safe under the vertical acceleration. Okay, so actually this method is not applicable for the simple structures, but just to let you know so how whether it if it is a suspension type of structures for the pedestrian, or if it is a cable type structures, so in that case we need to go for this general method, right? Okay, then coming to the vibration control, so there are multiple options where we can make the this particular action within the limit. So some of the parameters I have just listed out here. One is the modification of the mass, second is the stiffening of the bridge, and third one is the modification of the damping. So modification of the mass is nothing but you can use the concrete deck, okay, deck slab. So it will improve the dynamic response due to the increased modal mass, and which will reduce the human influence. Similarly, the stiffening of the bridge. So here again the structural stiffness can be modified to raise the frequency out of the critical range for both vertical as well as the lateral vibration. So we can either change the effective span or we can change the design modification. So like accordingly we can make the bridge stiffened. And the third one is a modification in the damping. Again we can use the various dampers such as viscous dampers, tuned mass dampers, or friction pendulum type of dampers, which could be installed to reduce the vibration which dissipate the enormous amount of vibration energy. Okay, so this is how we can perform the vibration analysis for the pedestrian bridges, and we can even control by any means. So these are the some of the guidelines as per the IRC SP 56 2011, along with how to perform this analysis using the Midas Civil, which is compatible for we can say that this type of vibration analysis. And if you have any questions, kindly contact us on the globalsupport.midasuser.com. So thank you for attending this webinar, and be safe.